Morning, folks. It's morning by about 30 seconds. Who have we got? We've got Peter. Hey, Peter, welcome to the call. Always ambush people with coming off mute. So, oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Welcome to the call. Thanks for joining nice and early. We got Gillian. Hey, Gillian. Gillian's like, oh, I've got to find the mute button again. How about Cheryl? Does your mute button work? I'm struggling a bit. Oh, Julie, Julie, come on, Julie. You got to pop off mute and say hello now. You give me a thumbs up. I'm not doing well. Is there a problem with the mute button? Jill, how about you? Can you unmute and say hello?
Unmute and say hello.
Oh, there you go. So, yeah, you think maybe I've messed up the settings.
Stop working, yeah.
Or maybe I've just turned everyone's. Although Peter did come off, so we got a hi from Julie. Who else do we have? We'll get started in a minute. We got Mandy. Hey, Mandy, welcome to the call. Don't leave me hanging,
Hi.
Mandy. There you go. Just give it long enough for me to think. Hey, welcome to the call, Mandy.
Hiya.
Hello. We got
I'm just eating, so I'm going to be off camera.
That's okay. Well, it is lunchtime, to be fair, isn't it? Who else we got? We got Francis West. We got a couple of minutes, folks, before we get started. So we're going to say hello to some more people. Francis is also thinking. There you go. Hey, Francis, welcome to the call. Looks like a nice, calm room that you're in. Who else have we got? So we've got Katerina. Hey, Katerina's put a camera on. I'm going to take that as I'm happy to say hello or give a little wave. Shell's trying to get in another way. That's fine. Folks, the cameras are really helpful to me. You don't have to leave them on. Of course you don't, because you just don't. Especially if you're lunching. But if you do leave them on, it's helpful because it helps me talk to you. Do you know what I mean? It just helps me feel a bit more connected to people I'm talking to. And when there's people are giving a noddy heads, I can tell that you like an update. Folks, let's give people another 30 seconds and we'll get started. We got Kristen and we got Amy. Hey, folks, welcome everybody to the call. And we've got Sergio. Hey, Sergio, welcome to the call. Recognize your name.
Thank you.
So, Sergio, we're going to get started in about maybe 30 seconds. Just leave the last couple to join in. Looks like we've got quite a small group today, but we'll get started in a couple of minutes or so. Okay, so we've got Sean as well. Okay, so I think it's about that time. What do you reckon, Deborah?
Good to go, Mark. Good to go.
Okay, let's go. Folks, welcome to October's Evergreen session. We're going to look at what happened across Microsoft 365 over the past month or so. There's a lot of, you know how it is, there's lots of AI around, isn't there? So you're going to see, even not in the Copilot part of the chat, you're going to see lots of it spread across. Okay, so for those of you who are new to the session, we just have, it's quite quick. I don't expect you to remember everything, so please don't try. Don't be stressed about the pace. We have about 2 minutes per topic, which isn't a lot. I want you to make a note of what matters to you, and then you can go off and then you can do a bit of research so you can learn a little bit more. But what do we have? We talk about the update name, we have the key points, we have the current release date. And for those of you who've been on these sessions before, you know you need to take that with a pinch of salt. They often slip, right? Couple of supporting screenshots. At a technical level, it's aimed at end users, super users, champions, and team site owners. I don't talk about the sort of stuff that generally you'd find in the admin center. It's all about our users and adoption and that type of thing. We don't have time for a deep dive. There's just too much stuff to talk about in a short time, or the ins and outs of how we use it. Although we'll give you a couple of insights. Please join in the chat. It's really helpful in the chat, folks. I see the questions in the chat, and also I recognise a lot of the names on here. You folk are of community-minded type folks, so please, if you ask a question in there, and someone else will answer. We've got updates for Copilot, OneDrive, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, and a couple from around 365. Folks, before we get started, does anybody have any questions or comments? I'm just sneaking in a bit more coffee, if I'm honest. Okay, why don't we start by talking about Copilot? Thumbs up. Anybody using Copilot pages? Yeah, getting a nod. So it's interesting because I know a few people who struggle with the stickiness of Copilot pages and not quite sure when to use them. And I'm going to be doing a session for some colleagues soon on this. But anyway, those of you who do use Copilot pages, you're getting a version history. So if something terrible happens to your page, then you can restore it. So let's just have a closer look. Down in the bottom here, you can see down here, we've got the restore version. Then we can go in and then we can look at the different versions. Those of you who are used to documents in SharePoint and OneDrive, which I think is most of us, will be familiar with that idea. And folks, you should have that by the end of the month. That looks quite nice. Talking about you Copilot pages, folks. So Katerina, we got a nod from you. Your pages is going to disappear, and it's going to disappear into a new label called a library. So you can have this library experience, which has got gives you access to all your Copilot generated content, images, your pages, and stuff that is shared with you. So you're going to have this library of stuff, and your pages is going to disappear into there, and that should be here anytime now. I keep checking on this, and I don't have it, so I'm guessing maybe it'll come in about the same time as that previous update. So you should have it by the end of the month, I would have thought. Okay, folks, anybody using? I'm going to pause for a second on this because I'm a couple of minutes ahead. I've got something to say about this feature. Does anyone use Copilot to create videos? I'd be really if you do, it'd be really interesting to pop off mute. Just give the 30-second overview of what you use it for. Okay, some shaky heads.
I've only tried it. I have only tried it for training purposes to share with my colleagues, but I haven't used it myself because I think it's good to have the storyboard and the first outline of text, but the video snippets not really suited.
That's interesting. So I've used this. I've used this for a piece of client work on and it's for a project that's changing quite quickly, and as the project goes on, you need to kind of cut little bits out of it. So I uploaded a slide deck to it. I told it, I described what it was for. Uploaded a slide deck. Now the primary source when you create a video is the content on the slide, but it also looks at the notes. Okay, so you can steer what it says, and it also for this organization, the end of this name ends with Inc, as in INC, and a full stop. But it kept saying incorporated. Right, and for M365 it said 365 or 365, and it was like So once you produce it, once it kind of creates it for you, you can go into every single little bit of speech, and where it said Inc as in INC or got that wrong or had a pause because of the full stop, you can just phonetically change it to INK, and then it just said Inc. And then with the M365 leave a space, but with the initial and then once that worked fine, then I was like, well, this is a bit tedious. And then I ran it again, and in my initial instructions, I said, if you see INC Inc full stop, pronounce this as, and then I put in quotes INK, and then for M365 I said, I want you to say the letter, then the number, as in like separate numbers. Did it perfectly. What I will say though, folks, is be careful, because the one I created, the publishing time was hundreds of minutes to do the final product. So be aware of that. Also, when the rest of the world comes online, it gets a bit slow. But what you're left with, folks, is a nice MP4, a file in Clipchamp, and all the assets. So you can create it. So honestly, I was quite impressed, folks. These changes. The transcript-based editing, that worked really well. The ability to use your own media, the natural sounding voices. Honestly, I gotta say, they're pretty nice. And this one that I used, if I didn't know about AI, if I listened to this 2 years ago, I wouldn't have blinked. I was like, oh, she sounded a bit funny then, maybe. But honestly, I wouldn't think anything of it. Folks, these changes should be here for all of us by the end of October. Folks, before we get on, anyone got any comments on that? Definitely worth a go. Definitely, I was so impressed. Okie dokie. Do you know what I love? Right, so I know I said 3 times now, I'm going to move on. Let's say that you're a person that can create really good content, either for your community or for work or whatever it is, but maybe but maybe you don't like reading out the courses, or you're not comfortable doing that, or maybe I don't know. There's other reasons why you might not want to. There's lots of them, but I'm not going to go into all of them. Talk about opening this up to lots of people. There might be people who wouldn't be great at doing voiceovers, but they can create amazing content. Those people can come out now as well, can't they? Really looking forward to this. Okay, updates to Copilot memory. Quick thumbs up. Have people done anything with their Copilot memory when they click on the 3 little dots, go into the settings, and then they say that they want to change the memory? Okay, so what I've done in mine, I ask it to use UK English spellings. I ask it to always use sentence case, and you can tell it to do other stuff. Okay, but look at this. You can now go into it, go into the personalization, and you get these new options like for your profile, your saved memories. Go and check it out. If you haven't had a look, even before these updates, it's worth you going and have a look and telling it, so you don't have to each time tell Copilot to use this version of whatever language that you produce your content in, or this tone of voice, or look at my company's website and use that tone of voice. You can just get all this set. So it'll remember all that for you. Also, you might want to go and look at its memory to see what it's remembered that maybe you didn't want it to. Go and check that out. Okay, when you're creating images in Copilot, so it might be that you want a certain sort of image, and you've got multiple versions of the type of thing that you want to upload. So you can use those as a reference, that you can upload multiple images when you're creating images and say that is the theme that you want to do it in this style. So instead of it having to guess and you say you want this and you want that and trying to just and tell Copilot, just upload these and just show it what you mean. That's got to be a good time saver, hasn't it? And that, folks, is available to you right now. Okay. It's interesting. Some of us know, a lot of us know that Microsoft are closely related with, or work closely with OpenAI. I think their investment in OpenAI is $13 billion. So that and they use their models, but they're opening up just a little bit. So Researcher and Copilot Studio are going to offer Anthropic's models. Okay, but there is a catch, and you'll see what this catch is in a minute. You probably guessed what this is right away. So you can see here the different models, and I've got to be honest, I don't know Anthropic. There's only so much time to learn stuff, isn't there? So I tend to focus on Google and Microsoft stuff. But your organization must opt in, which I think is right. But the problem is that the data processing happens outside of Microsoft managed environments. So all the things that we worried about. Ooh, check you on mute, folks. So all the things that we used to worry about with Copilot, really, and privacy and where stuff gets processed, that's a big deal here. So you might hear your colleagues talk about this, but a couple of things. It's your organization has to opt in, and there is an issue with where that data is processed. But it might be useful for some of you, and that is available right now if you've opted in. Researcher, anybody using Researcher? Katerina, you smiled and gave a wave then very quickly. Are you able to pop off mute and tell us what you do with it? You don't have to. You can just say, you can give me a pass if you want to. But what do you do with it?
No, I'm testing all the agents. So
Yeah.
I used it to create a summary report of a very long project. So I asked it to go towards all the previous reports and statistics, whatever, and it created a very good report summary for me, grounded in these documents. So, but I guess you can do so much more with a researcher. So this is just one example. Yeah,
thank you, Katerina. That's great. So, folks, last month we talked about, when we're talking about last month, more control over grounding Researcher, weren't we? But you could tell it where to look. So instead of just doing it on the internet, you can point it, maybe like Katerina's done, you can point it at certain things. Now, we heard the example last month that the Inform team are one of 42 Microsoft partners with a certain credential amongst 42,000 or something like that. Forgive me if those numbers aren't perfect, but there's no list of who those people are. But every single one of them shouts about it. So Researcher found all of them. It was just, imagine how long that would have taken, like tens of thousands of companies to review. but sometimes it's a bit long. So I think, so I mean, it can take like 15 minutes to do, and it goes on and on and on. But look at this, you can make it so, yes, you want it to be just as thorough, but you don't want to be reading the thing forever. Okay, so I think that's really great. Also, you can control about how the output is as well. Rather than it being on the screen, you can push it into Word. Or maybe you look at it and you're like, I really need to know this, but actually there's a lot of work there. So I'm gonna put my headphones on, and you're going to listen to an audio version of it. And that's quite a nice feature. Folks, if you haven't got those couple of tweaks yet, you should have that by the end of the month. Okie dokie. The skills agent. So when we talk about Frontier, this is like, so some companies let people have early access to some of the agents. So you might see Frontier come up. You've got these Frontier organizations where they have early access to stuff, and you look at it. Skills, this looks quite interesting. It's just when you think about agents, for those of you who are not sure about what the agents are, Copilot is a jack of all trades, isn't it? And the agents are a master of one. So we've got a jack of all trade and a master of one. That's not by the way, that's what someone else said that, and I really liked it. So the agents are a master of one thing that they do. Skills. So a couple of things. So you can use a skills app as individuals, just to think about the work that you do, what your organization is doing. It knows what based on people's behaviors, it knows where your organization is strong or where there's gaps, and then you could develop yourself to fill the gaps in your organization. Infer skills from people's activity. So managers can work out where they've got where the skills are that they need, or maybe maybe there's an organization and you're just struggling to get something done, and it might help you identify where those gaps are, folks. So it's in Frontier at the moment. So maybe go back to your organization and ask about that if that's of interest to you. But it will be coming to the rest of us once it's been fine-tuned a little bit. At this stage, they've got a few tweaks to do, but it will be coming our way. Coming towards the end of the Copilot section now. So these Copilot Chat, the free version, coming into all the apps, and I maybe should have done a full screen for this, a full thing for this. So I apologize for not doing it, but I will explain it. So the free version of Copilot Chat. Assuming that your organization lets your people without a full license use Copilot Chat, is coming to the main Office apps. Okay, and this creates like an in-between place. So you know that Copilot Chat has always been grounded on the internet. M365 Copilot is mainly grounded in your tenant, but it can look at the internet as well. So, but this is the free version here, but when it's in the chat here, can look at the document you're working on. So it can't access all your work, but it can help you with the document that you're working on. So if your organization has got free Copilot, it's definitely worth you checking this out, because it does create the edges of Copilot get very grey, aren't they? It's kind of like murky edges about where things overlap. But that's quite an interesting one. And ultimately, I don't believe. Oh, yes, it does. Yeah, that first one there. Yes, look at your email. Sorry, Jill. I apologise. It's the first one there. Yes, it does, Jill. But yeah, go and check that out. I think it's interesting. And you know what? I think ultimately, Copilot's going to be rolled in with Microsoft 365 as part of the license. They'll add a couple of dollars or a couple of pounds or a couple of euros per seat, but it's just coming to more people. Folks, the surveys agent, another Frontier thing, but if you've got early access stuff, you'll see this. So been pushed back a little bit. I talked about this last month. It might be that Mandy's really good at Microsoft Forms, and someone says, Mandy, could you help me with this form, please? You know what? Mandy can just say, actually, Mark, go and try surveys instead. So you just click survey agent, and you just tell it what you want, and it will work with forms and create your form for you and your survey or whatever it is you need. So some of us have access to that now. If not, we should have it by the end of November. So Copilot Studio, the ability to measure the business impact of Copilot Studio agents in Viva Insights. That's a bit of a mouthful. Due the 15th of October, due today. So if that's something that's of interest to you, if you're in your organization, you want to measure the impact of Copilot Studio agents, go and have a look at that. And if nothing else, just remember that exists, and a quick search will tell you all about it. This is worth just giving you a reminder. So it's been pushed back a little bit, but it will impact, if it hasn't impacted you already, it would impact you by the end of October. So remember, standard and priority access is basically standard access is for people who use Copilot Chat, the free version of Copilot. And some of the features that are free, say in Create, and there's other features as well. And if you look at the admin center, it will say the service level on this is standard. Priority is for people who've got a full Microsoft 365 license. So if you look after a community of Copilot users, or you're a super user in your organization, you might see people saying they've got a message telling them a service isn't available now, try again later. There's nothing wrong. It's just that the people who pay for Microsoft 365 Copilot are getting prioritized over the people who don't. So hopefully it doesn't affect you too much, but be aware of it. I'm going to pause for breath before we go on to OneDrive. Anyone got any questions or comments? It's all about Copilot, isn't it? And in fact, there's more Copilot, even in OneDrive. This is interesting. Right, it's interesting to me. This slide, I had this slide, and then I created a screenshot of it for another purpose. And then I carried on with my slide deck, but I deleted the slide. Right, so I deleted the slide. When I went back, it wasn't there. So I couldn't go back far enough. So I had to recreate the slide. But I actually used this functionality to ask Copilot to extract the bullet points from the picture. And actually, I created the slide again in a blink, and then just took a screenshot of the image you see on here now. If this feels a bit janky, it's because I did that kind of bit of a workaround. Anyway, you've got OneDrive on your machine. Look at the bottom here. So on Windows, you've got OneDrive down here. So I've opened the Activity Center on my machine. That's what that thing is called there. I've got files in there. So I click on the three little dots, and I can do Copilot stuff right from my Windows desktop. Okay, so that is quite a nice little time saver. And maybe, and this is more surprising to me, if you open File Explorer, you know that thing that looks like it's from the 90s, right? That's got some Copilot smarts now. If you right click on a file, but then you click on your OneDrive. So it's got to be a file that's backed up, right? So click on OneDrive, and I know it's an extra step away, but all those smarts are in there as well. So just a little bit quicker for you to get to some of the functionality you get from Copilot, and that is already live. Let's go straight into Outlook. A couple of things. These are related, obviously. Copilot previously couldn't access shared delegated mailboxes or shared mailboxes. Okay, so that has come in now. It kind of like came in fairly quietly. But if you're one of those people who looks after other people's mailboxes, there's a couple of examples on the screen there. You just say it in normal language. You want to do somebody's mailbox or this particular mailbox there. So it might be you've got teams or colleagues that look after, maybe so some of the organizations I work with have like a secretariat. And it might be that user group would like to know about this, or maybe you've got a team that look after a mailbox, or maybe you're a manager of a team that look after a shared mailbox. You can get it to help you keep on top of that. Okay. SharePoint. SharePoint document libraries are getting the AI Actions button. So a lot's happened with SharePoint recently. Last week, some of the things I've talked about previously. The creating sections with AI. I did a quick demo of that last week. That works. It's interesting, but it just give you a head start. It's definitely worth a play. Bringing your agents, the agents web part. So you bring an agent inside your SharePoint page. So you've got a SharePoint page about onboarding, and you've got an agent about onboarding. You can bring the two. So the agents is where people are reading about the topic. That works great. And what was the other one? Oh, the FAQ. So the creating an FAQ using AI. So that works really well as well. And now what's coming in? So our colleagues will see this. We're getting a new button here called AI Actions, and you can see here that I've got it. This is a real screenshot. So some of the options, and it depends what file you've selected. Some of the options include summarize, create an FAQ, an audio overview, ask a question about it, compare files, explain an image, extract text. And let's have a look at this. Why don't we pick this one here? So generate an FAQ. So I've gone to this file and I've said I want an FAQ, and then straight away it creates an FAQ based on that content for me. And then I can do whatever I want with that. So it might be, folks, that some users might think, what's this new button? And they might ask you, how come I can't do these things? It depends on the type of file that you've selected in the first place. So if you've got early access to some features, you may have that already. You can see that I have. But if not, mid-November to late December. I'm going to pause for breath.
May I ask a question on that
Yeah.
one? Because that's for the SharePoint view in files that you can do that. You may be coming to it now, but can you also do it from the files view in Teams? Do you know?
I don't know, Mandy.
No, do I?
So
I'm just having a look to see if I've got it. So
I don't know. So my first thought is that it would make. My first thought is it would make that menu a bit busy. My second thought is Microsoft are trying to get Copilot everywhere, so they may well do it. When you find out, Mandy, you come back and let us all know. Okay, why don't we see what's going on over in Teams? There's been a lot of Copilot today, hasn't there? For those of you who don't have Copilot, I apologise. Hopefully everyone will get it before too long. But I like to look at this. So Copilot Chat is coming to Teams chats, channels, callings, and meetings. Now there might be some time. If you go and look at one of your chats that you've got, you might see that you've already got the Copilot button up there, and you could say to it, give me an overview of what's been discussed in the last week in here, just a nice simple one, and that works really well. But the one thing I'm looking forward to, folks, is channels. I'm really looking forward to be able to go to a channel and having that button at the top just makes it easier to see what the latest is in a channel, doesn't it? Quite late, so mid-November. Folks, just double check you're on mute. Someone isn't, and their microphone is really sensitive and it's getting like a little scratchy noise coming over. So mid-November to mid-January. I think that's going to be genuinely useful. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, while we're talking about channels, has anybody heard of the channel agent? Really interested in the chat. Right, as I talk to you about this, let me know what you think about this. Whether you think it's great, maybe you're horrified by it. I don't know. Let me know what you think. So each channel. So we're going to be able to go in and in the channels, add a channel agent to the channel. Okay, and it just kind of like lives in the channel, and it acts as the expert. It will draft reports for you. It will create tasks based on stuff that's needed or discussed, and it acts as the colleague that knows everything about the thing that you're working on. Maybe we're working on the Moondust project, and it just periodically does an update. Here's what's going on. Here's what's changed. Here's the highlights. You can ask it questions. You can see on the right hand side over here. What's happening with this project regarding our strategy or compared to our strategy. So the public preview of this is going to roll out September to mid-October. So I've checked and I don't have it. And the one thing I can't tell you, and I do apologize for not knowing this, whether it's going to be on by default. So I'd expect to see it in preview, but I don't have it yet. But has anyone got it? I've tried it for my team, but they prefer to chat in groups instead of channels. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure what to make of it because you don't really know until you try it, right? I don't know whether it's going to be this super helpful thing that's just going to help keep on track, or it's just going to be a little bit in the way. And it's going to be more noise. Be really interesting, folks. Once it comes out on a later session, if you've got some good experience of it, maybe get to the team section, you pop off mute and tell us about it. Just that's the same for all the stuff we talk about. If something we've previously discussed, feel free to bring it up and we'll talk about it. But Katerina doesn't look like a fan just yet, or her colleagues don't. Okay, let's get away from Copilot for a second. The ability to open channels in a new window. How often do you find yourself doing something in a channel, or maybe you're doing a post in there, but you have to go off to another one, or to another place to get some information or check something, then you have to click back and you get back and you have to come back to your chat. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to open just that channel in a new window. Okay, so that's coming. We click on the three little dots. We say we'd like to open that in a new window. Now, you can sort of do this. Now, is anybody using the threaded? Just in 1 second, Jackie. Is anybody using the threaded view inside Teams channels? So this is instead of like everything just being in a row, and then you can't quite see the next post, and you have to click view more. You only see the last 3 or 4 comments, and you have to go click more. And then if you do click into it, you then got to go back to channel. It's become a little clunky. If you turn it into a threaded channel, you see all the posts, and all the responses live at the side. I really like it. Not everyone does, but it works really well for me. Now, if you've got a threaded channel, you can then, if you've got a post in there, you can click on the post and say open in a new window. So the post opens in a new window, so it opens out that post, but you can scroll up and down and look at everything else in that channel. So if you've got threaded channels, you can already do this just without that little bit of a tweak. Jackie, you had your hand up. Just checking. Was that an accidental hand up, or do you have something that you wanted to ask?
Sorry, it's accidental.
Oh, they need to move that raised hand, don't they? Even now after all this time, there's always an accidental. Yeah. So anyway,
I was going for the react and then it hit the hand.
I know
instead.
it's annoying, isn't it? Well, hi, Jackie. Jill.
Just a quick one in terms of terminology, because it says posts at the top, it says conversation, and it says threads in the same thing. So it's really hard if you're trying to upskill staff.
Yeah.
Because you've got chat, conversation, posts, and threads, and some of them are trying to get off of a channel and put it into SharePoint because they're not using any of that. But you just don't have the same terminology. So they go, which bit you're talking about? Is it a chat or So just wish they would think a little bit around how they are doing the terminology for it.
Yeah. So if anyone's not sure what Jill's, just to help if anyone can't pitch what Jill's talking about, when you turn on threaded channels, the posts change to conversations. Is that what you're talking about at the top, Jill, or is that just one of the things that you're saying?
When you go in a Teams channel, you've got posts at the top. If you click on the post, it shows you. But if you go at the bottom, then it will talk about, adding a post. And then if you've got threads on, it says reply and thread.
Yeah. And the post at the top changes to conversations. And it's like, will you stop fiddling with the edges?
Yeah. So I just want it called the same thing. So for people who don't use this much, or you're trying to get them to engage out of emails into a kind of more chat environment, they haven't got a clue, because you kind of, as you said, groups are chats, but channels it's posts.
Jill, I'm working with an organisation now where some of their people have used Google forever, so they don't know any Microsoft terminology. Right, then new to it, and I have to explain to them that there's an app called Microsoft Teams, and then if you go to the left-hand side, there's Microsoft Teams, and then in there we've got our teams. It's like, it's just this nesting of the same term. So so that gave me working with these people, Joe, gave me a flashback that because you get used to it, don't you? You get desensitized to it. But people who are new to it and I have to explain some of the terms to them, it just reminds me just how confusing it can be. I see that someone in there has agreed with you, Jill. There's lots of
I've got some stuff that they're not in the office basically, so this is even harder for them, because they're never going to pick it up because they're on it like half an hour a day a week. So anyway,
it's big ask,
over. Thank you very much.
That's all right. It's nice to share. I think Rob's got the last word on that. I just call it the Teams bit of Teams. There you go. I think Rob has settled that. Okay, so when we forward messages, sometimes we forward messages to our colleagues, and they can be a little bit like, okay, great, so I've read the message, but I really want to see the context. Where did that come? What were people saying? Where was it said? Well, this is just a small change, and it just means that when I forward a message, the date and time, it might not be obvious, so it might be worth calling out to your colleagues. The date and time is now clickable. That'll take you back to the source of that forward. So a small point, but I think would be really useful. Okay, anybody using workflows in Teams? And if you are, before you put your hand up, I'm going to ask you to give us a 30-second overview of what you do with them. So either you're not using them, or you don't want to do, or you're still at your lunch, you're not coming off mute. So the workflows, you remember quite some time ago. I'm going back, maybe, I don't even know. In my head, everything changed 2 years ago. It might be 4 years ago, I don't know. So what used to be called automating teams got rebranded workflows, didn't it? So that's been rebranded for a long time ago, and it might be for some of us your organization don't let you use it, so it's not available to you because of the Power Automate elements of it. Well, these AI workflows are coming along. So look at this. So this is a screenshot. So I've gone into workflows on the left hand side in Teams, click on the three little dots at the bottom, and then I search for workflows, and there it is. And I will click on templates. Look at this. So this is combining these little automations with timed prompts. So you can go into a Copilot, have a prompt, and you can delay it. You can set it for a certain time, scheduled prompt. I got there eventually. So you can schedule a prompt, can't you? So it's combining a scheduled prompt with a little bit of automation, okay, inside Teams. So there's an example there, catching up on a topic. If I went into that one, it will, what is the topic you're interested in? Give you some instructions. How do you want me to give you this update, and when do you want the update? And you can see that if I go down here, then there's other ones in there. So really interesting. If I click on, okay, so what we've got, these templates, they just help you, and they're quite structured at the moment. So it's not free form just yet, but it's a little automation that does something with the output of those prompts. So you got a prompt. I know you can already do that, and you go and look at your conversations in Copilot. But what if I actually want you just send it to me, or do something with it, make my life a bit easier, help me prepare for my day? Why don't we have a closer look at that one? So we can see here. So prepare for my day, send summaries for this, or look at everything you got access to. It's basically this prompt here. Okay, and you can tweak just a couple of them. Some of them you can do more, some you can do less. But it might be that, Francis, every morning at 7 o'clock, you just want a roundup of your day, just where you are, what's outstanding, and it'll just send it to you in Teams or an email. That looks quite handy, doesn't it? So looking forward to that. You can see that's available for some people now, but it might be as late as late October for some people. Okay, so I'm not sure what to make of this. So Microsoft is introducing a new collaborative notes tab to group chats. So over in your Teams channels, it creates a notes tab, doesn't it? And that notes tab is by default. The notes tab looks at a page or section or set a section inside the default OneNote that's created along with your team. Okay, and I gotta be honest, I just delete the tab. I don't personally get on with that, and I don't. It's especially people who are new to Teams. It's a bit confusing for them. Anyway, this is coming to your group chats, but was it Jill talking about the things that being the terminology? This is also called Notes, but it's powered by Loop. It's not powered by OneNote like it is. This is the exact same thing in the other section. So it's powered by Loop. It's on by default for everybody. Organizations can proactively disable it, but they have to go and do that, because if they don't, it's going to be on by default. So just be aware of that. You might find users coming to you and saying, I've got this group chat with myself, Amy, Kristen, Annie and Pamela, we're all in this chat, and someone's added this thing and no one knows who's added it. Also, there's going to be a learning curve there for how you use Loop. I know people who don't know what Loop is. Okay, because their job is doing work in your organization rather than supporting other people to do their work like maybe we do. Anyway, that's going to start surfacing late October if it's left as default. Saving channels, I quite like this. I've used this. I use this a lot now. Remember, in Teams version 1, we could use Teams version 1, we could use we could save. We could save messages and we could save chats. That went away with the version of Teams that we have now, but it's back. So we can click on the 3 little dots and we can say we want to save this message. Push back a little bit for some people. It's easy to miss. I'll tell you why it's easy to miss, because the section where you view your saved messages only appears if you've got a saved message. So I've worked with people who say, I don't have this, because there's not that section in their chats or in their channels at the top for saved. You have to go and save one first, and then the section appears. Anyway, I'm so glad that's back. In case you missed it, the ability to upgrade your regional settings is in Teams, so you've got more control over your regional settings. I work with, or have worked recently with an organization that's got people all over the world, and this is useful for them. The Files tab in Microsoft Teams is getting renamed. I know you know this, we've covered this before, but it's been pushed back to mid to late November. So everyone who doesn't get on with the naming conventions inside Teams, this one's getting renamed, and the functionality is slightly changing. The files are still in there, but it's a couple of clicks. So if that's new to you, then you need to go and look that up, folks. I think it's all good, but it is a bit jarring. I can't see anyone not getting on with this, but if I was an end user focused on doing my non-learning about this stuff work, and then all of a sudden they've added this new tab to my channel, they've taken away my files tab, and when I open it, what's all this stuff? What do you think, Katerina? Are you as outraged as I am?
No, I just wanted, one thing that was very unclear to many users is that the files tab is named shared. One is library belonging to the team. The second one is files that have been shared but not actually live in the team. And people struggle to understand the difference, because when they are shared through someone's posting, they actually live in that person's OneDrive, not in the team. So that was the previous behavior, and suddenly it's changed and divided. So people struggle to understand the difference, and I had to really deep dive to understand the difference, because that's very
Katerina, that's a good insight, because you know what I love about, because these sessions, we've been doing this for a few months now, but the community is still quite young, isn't it? But when we get a community like this and we share, when one of us learns something like that, so we all now don't have to go and learn that the hard way. So just think what Katerina said, watch it back, because you'll get a recording, just making it clear what those differences are. And the different way that I explain this, when I say this is coming, I say that in your group chats, you might be familiar that this has already happened, and this is coming to your channels as well, but maybe you still need to point out the differences. Thank you, Katerina. So I think we all need to make a note of that. What else is happening in Teams? Before we think about moving on, that network strength indicator, we've all been on a call where the presenter is a bit glitchy, and they keep cutting out, and you're like, is it me or is it them? I don't want to ask in case it's me. No one else is saying anything, but everyone else is thinking the same thing as you, and they think it's them as well, but it's actually the presenter. The network strength indicator will show what other people's network strength is, although it keeps getting pushed back, and I wonder whether there's a privacy issue to this, whether they need to just fine tune that or make it optional, because they keep pushing this one back and back and back and back. I know that I previously worked with a global insurance company, and I know that there's a country in Europe where there's a workers' council there where they're very strict about privacy and workers' rights. I can imagine that this sort of thing. I wonder if it's something like that that's made this get pushed back so often and so far. Okie dokie, folks. Any questions, comments about that team stuff? Any highlights? Any lowlights? Anyone love what's in there? Anyone horrified by what we've covered in Teams? I think most of it's fine, isn't it? The agents raise an eyebrow for me, and I know that it's an older update. They've saved messages. It's like on a Monday morning, or maybe you've been off and you're going through your messages. You just want to find anything that's gonna get you fired at the end of the day. So you want to make sure you go and do that. And there's some stuff that you need to read properly later, or you need to action this later. You can go through. You can make your saved. Then you get yourself a cup of tea, and then you can just sit and work through it in your own time. I think I really look. That's my favorite update, I think. Okay, so does anyone know? Has anyone looked at this? So I'm going to show you the Excel one, the agent mode in Excel. But has anyone come across this? This is another frontier thing, so it's new. So it's another thing that Microsoft are still just they're still just polishing it around the edges. Does anyone know about agent mode in Excel or Word or this other stuff? Has anyone come across this? It'd be great if you know about it. It'd be great if someone, Katerina, I can't wait for you to share and tell us all about it. Katerina, you got 60 seconds. Go.
No. I tried to install it. It requires some extra from my colleagues, my admin colleagues, but it prevents our settings. Domain setting, tenant settings prevented us from installing this extra add-on you need to add into Excel. So I couldn't try it out, but I was so curious to learn about it. So I'd like to do it when it's available.
Likewise. Yeah, likewise. Anybody else? Anyone else read about it or know about it or intrigued by it? I'm going to show you a graph in a minute, which raises an eyebrow in a couple of ways. So So it's this. So it's just. So this agent mode. So it's just more. So it's just instead of just Copilot on the side, it's like this Excel agent, and it's much more much more aligned with the product that you're looking at. It's like it's like just like almost like a Copilot Excel agent rather than a general Copilot on the side. So it's just meant to be a lot better. But I'm going to share a graph with you now. So this are independent tests on this. So you can see here, this is a human on the right hand side, and that person is making the accuracy. They're making a few mistakes. The Copilot agent, sorry, the Copilot in Excel agent mode, right, 57%, which is the highest of the AIs. Has anyone found that Copilot hasn't been amazing in Excel, or maybe it was a little bit slow? It was one of the later ones to get good, wasn't it? Look at Copilot in Excel down here. Look at the look where it lives. It's like it was obviously struggling, wasn't it? And we all well, maybe you all didn't, but certainly I did, and some of the people I worked with, we struggled a little bit with Copilot in Excel. And I think this chart shows you why. Obviously, because Excel's so sophisticated, isn't it? You could spend probably the next 10 years learning Excel and not know everything. But I think that's interesting. I think that for me, I know it's not ready. I know someone's tried it, but it's not ready yet. But I think that the accuracy and its ability, I thought that chart was really powerful. For me, that tells me what I need to know. Is it going to be better? Yes, it is. Is it going to be easier to use? Yes, it is. So yes, I would like to try it. Okay. Oops. Has anybody seen these pesky little things appearing in their windows? Let me just zoom in for you. Yeah, get a couple of nods. Well, they appeared in my windows, and I'm like, what on earth is this? And I close it, and then I realised that I didn't open it, and it just keeps magically appearing. So these are the companion apps. Okay, so there's one there for people. Let's zoom in on the people one, and very quickly I click it, and there's the people I favorited, the people that I work with. There's the files one. So my recent files, just click and get into it nice and quickly, and then I click on the little helper, click, and I can get into my calendar super fast, and I can make my appointments. So it's just like a shortcut into different parts of Microsoft 365. So the people, the files, the calendar. So if you've got the desktop apps installed, that is, it just saves you having to install a desktop app. But the fact that they're getting added automatically is raised an eyebrow for me. So and I just find myself just closing things. You know what? I need to take a minute and find out how to close them permanently. If anyone look at this thinking, Mark, all you have to do is do this thing, then they never come back, then pop that in the chat. But maybe you think this would be amazing. If it works well for you, then that's good. Anyway, if you look after your colleagues, you might find you're going to get you might find that people are going to say, Cheryl, what is this thing that keeps popping up? And then you'll take Rob's advice and you'll go into your startup apps and you'll disable them. Thank you, Rob. Okay, so late October, although I've already got it until the end of the year. Jack's, I can't get rid of the get out button. Isn't it? Do you know what? We're laughing about it, but does anyone listen to the podcast Windows Weekly with Paul Thrott? I love that. If you're interested in the world of 365 and Windows, it's a weekly podcast, and it's basically three grumpy old men, right, just moaning about all the stuff that Microsoft do with Windows and with Microsoft 365. And yeah, that you're saying I can't even get rid of this. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, something to be aware of. I don't think it's a big drama, but I think you're just maybe let your colleagues know about it. So Microsoft have become closer and closer to Adobe over the last couple of years, haven't they? And Adobe is going to be the default reader for all enterprise users. They're called that out, enterprise users. So if you look at PDFs, it's going to be powered by Adobe. It is on by default. And will happen over the course of the winter. In the I say winter in Northern Hemisphere winter over October to March. Peter, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just get more of a question of why they're getting so involved with Adobe, because if you're choosing print to PDF,
yeah,
it demands you that you need to have a pro license because you're only allowed to do that like once a day, something like that. So that kept it quite a problem for our users.
Yeah.
I work in the municipalities. We have
11,000,
12,000 people using this function. And just the print to PDF function, they the normal one is the Adobe version, and that you need a Pro version to use more than one time.
Yeah, Peter, I don't actually know what the reason is. If I had to guess, my semi-educated guess would be that maybe they wanted some intellectual property or some functionality that Adobe own, and to be able to use that, they had to do this. Or maybe it's financial. Maybe someone's paying somebody behind the scenes.
It's still a function to make put it to PDF, but you need to make an additional choice, not the normal one, not the one out of the box.
Yeah, it's a pain, isn't it, Peter? Because we teach our colleagues how to. Because let's be honest, most of the people we work with don't care about the stuff we're talking about. They just want to do their job, right? And like Jill was saying, and Catherine was saying, people just they don't. It's more friction, isn't it? It's friction for our colleagues.
The computer is just out the door for their work to
go
exactly to where they're going to work with.
Yeah, they just want that nice clear window just to their work without this. So I don't know, Peter. I don't know the reason. I if I had to guess, it's going to be there's some functionality that Microsoft wanted to start using. Adobe owned the IP for it, and this was a gateway to that, or somebody's paying somebody to have the product stuffed in. Because I don't personally feel any benefit from this, and
it just makes a lot of extra working load on the support side. So
yeah, I'm with you, Peter. Yeah. But thank you for sharing that, and welcome to the call. Thank you for coming off mute and sharing, Peter. So you might have already used this, but across Microsoft 365, you know that you can create an audio overview of lots of files. Push back for some people. It's been around for a while now, but some people won't get it until about today. So that's why I'm raising it again. The audio overviews are great. Power Automate. If you're a Power Automate user, it might be that you've got you've got an automation running. Right, and maybe Peter works in the public sector, and obviously, quite rightly, we have to look after. Well, every organisation does, but public money, we have to look after public money. We can't just do IT stuff for the sake of it. It has to benefit the taxpayer, doesn't it, and pay the rates. What about this? Okay, so as part of your flows, you can say how much time. Each one of these flows saves. So as part of the flow itself, you can say how much it saves, and it'll be easier for you to report. So it might be that Peter has this running, and you can say that this flow and this new flow and this new flow has saved 5,000 hours per year. How good is that? Because we need to, if the work that the stuff that we spend our time on, if you can quantify the results like that, I think that's really useful for reporting. The opening word button in Microsoft Copilot Chat, push back a little bit. It just means that you've got some content in Copilot Chat. In Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, and actually I don't want it there. I don't want to have to copy it. I just want it to just open this thing in Word. That it looks like it's going to be good. And just a quick thing that's coming to Edge is real-time video translation. If you watch any sort of video in Edge, it doesn't matter whether the source is providing it. The Edge itself will do a real-time translation of the audio in there. That's quite exciting. I'm not sure. I'm not thinking about some of the clients that we have. It might be that because I don't know where that processing happens, but I just wanted to just flag it in there as one to watch. It says due October. I think that's going to get pushed back, but I think it's definitely interesting, especially if we work in multilingual environments like some of us do. Okay, folks, I tell you what, I'm interested to know. I'm interested to know what you think of the updates that we've shared today. So I'm going to share a poll with you, and you can choose more than one if you want to. It's an opportunity for you to say what you like. So I'm just going to get that shared now. And just while I'm starting to close off, it'd be great, folks, if you would tell us what you like. Okay, so I'm going to just keep an eye on the results. Just double checking. Mandy, can you just confirm that's popped up for you, or anybody? Oh yeah, it's coming in now. Okay, great. Okay, so folks, we'll have a follow-up email. As you put it, won't be a surprise to you. A follow-up email. Let us know what you think of the session. Is there anything you'd like us to change? Keep in touch whether we can help you with anything. Make sure you join next month. Share this with your colleagues. Anyone wants to come, welcome to come along. Now, we know that it's not a perfect fit for everybody because we talk about everything, don't we? And it might be your organization. They don't use some of the things that we talk about. But feel free to share this with your colleagues. And also, we have a series of Copilot webinars on at the moment. So we've got one tomorrow. Myself and Archie, we're talking about emotional intelligence and just the the kind of like the mix of our relationships with AI, and that's on tomorrow. So folks, let's see what the winner is. So quite a popular one. The Copilot AI Creator is getting improved. Just pipping it is the forward. So that's interesting. The forward messages to include the clickable link to the original message. That's got 15%. I don't know. So I knew it was useful. What's also got 15% is the open channels in a new window. So I think we've got a tie. We got a tie. Oh no. So we got a tie. Both of those folks are getting both on 17%. Okay, so we are about out of time. Folks, I need to respect your time and finish on time. I want to thank you for coming to the session. I'm grateful for, and we can have all sorts here. If you don't come off mute, that's fine. If you get something out of it, that's absolutely fine. Thank you for commenting in the chat. Thank you for coming off mute. So whatever, just for coming along, I'm very grateful. I do appreciate it's lunchtime. Hopefully it's helpful, and I really hope that I see you next month. What we've done, folks. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome,
Mark.
folks.
Really helpful.
You're very welcome, folks. You're welcome,
Bye.
everybody. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.